Hello, everyone, and welcome to Creating a New World, a show about the 12 Visions world, a world of wealth, health, peace, love, and prosperity. Uh, I'm Bill Hunsaker, your host, and I'm a self-leader, which means that I take full responsibility for my life, and I, um, I decide and act for myself. Uh, and I'd like to introduce my uh, co-hosts. They're all self-leaders also. First, we have Sage Katakura. Welcome, Sage. Thank you
Thank
for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks. Great to be here.
We also have Bob McCaffrey. Thank you, Bob, for coming on the show.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you for inviting me, and hi, everybody.
And we also have Harry Dolgen. The only reason I list him last is because he's furthest away from me on my screen. Welcome to the show, Harry.
I forgive you. Happy to be here. Hi, everybody.
Okay, as I said, this show is about the 12 Visions world. Author and entrepreneur, Mark Hamilton, thought about a world without initiatory, what a world without initiatory force would be, and he chose to write the result in the form of 12 visions. They are, number one, become the person you were meant to be. Number two, live the life you were meant to live. Number three, feel extraordinary. Number four, stop aging. Number five, get the job of your dreams. Number six, start the company you always wanted. Number seven, embrace the lover of your fantasies. Number eight, diet down to the body you always envied. Number nine, become a genius. Number 10, surround yourself with geniuses. Number 11, ride a prosperity wave that will make you a millionaire. And number 12, enjoy nearly perfect physical and mental health. Sounds great, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's just an idea right now, but it's one that we can make reality if we all work together. Today, we're going to talk about Vision 10, surround yourself with geniuses, and I'm gonna ask Sage to go ahead if he's ready.
Oh,
I kind of snuck it up on him.
thank you very much, Bill. I love how you keep me on my toes.
Yep. Just go ahead and read what we discussed. The first section that ends at the top of page 214, and you can read the quote at the beginning too.
I am sorry, Bill. This is SOS Visions, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that's the book that on this
Okay.
show.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm sure Harry's ready. We'll let him do it then. Go ahead.
By
Harry.
default, I'm ready.
Yep.
Okay. This is Vision 10. Surround yourself with geniuses. Another sign of a healthy competitive industry is lower prices. The statistics show that the cost of computing has decreased 10 million fold since 1971. That's the equivalent of getting a Boeing 747 for the price of a pizza. Now, that's a quote from Bill Gates. Now, that's something. Now, this is Mark Hamilton's Vision 10. Stepping through the doorway into the 12 Visions era, in my mind's eye, our geniuses made us rich, made us healthy, made everything good for us. The geniuses of society led the technological revolution that raised our standard of living towards that of millionaires. We loved our geniuses. They brought us the gifts of life. In the late 20th century, the geniuses first freely rose in the computer world and brought ordinary children inexpensive video games that, just a few years ago before, only the children of millionaires could enjoy. My 10th vision showed me that sometime in the first quarter of the 21st century, the geniuses freely rose throughout the rest of the business world and brought us inexpensive products that a few years before only the millionaires could enjoy. Indeed, this computer-like millionaire phenomena came to more and more industries beyond the computer industry, making ordinary people such as you and me essentially millionaires without lifting a finger. Looking back over the 20th century, the millionaire phenomenon had already happened in the computer industry because it was uniquely free of big government regulations. The computer industry gave us a look ahead at what life would be like in tomorrow's 12 Visions world. My 10th vision showed me that, to the amazement of people, the millionaire phenomenon came to more and more industries as we universally remove big government regulations. After our get their people rich government, that's Vision 11, next remove most big government regulations. Technologies in all industries raced ahead like the computers. As in the computer industry, where buying power multiplied thousands or millions of times, our buying power in more and more industries multiplied hundreds, sometimes thousands of times or more. That was because the geniuses were now free to rise and evolve. Wow.
Thank you, Harry.
You're welcome.
Now, the one thing I want to emphasize here is that you know, the geniuses that Mark is talking about don't come from somewhere else. Don't suddenly appear out of nowhere. The geniuses he's talking about are us, because as the previous vision says, by applying the techniques and tools in the Neothink Society, we can become geniuses. And the four of us are moving every day toward becoming geniuses and becoming, you know, people who the rest of society want to provide values and services for them.
Yeah.
And I look forward to that world. I look forward to being someone that I look forward to being in demand, but I also look forward to having people or other people being there ready to provide values to me. And that's what the 12 Visions world will be like. It'll be, you know, you'll go out there and maybe post something on the internet and say, I'm looking for this, and dozens of people will appear saying, I can do it for this much, I can do it for this much, I can do it for this much. And, you know, people will basically be putting in bids to provide you what you want. And that will be the way the world works, unlike now where you take what you get, pretty much.
Right, exactly. That's why I'm here, really, Bill, and excited by the free competition and the free marketplace that can happen by Mark Hamilton when he writes here. And I feel that we're living in a society that's not that way. Like you said, take it as what's available, which isn't much. And I think that throughout, even in the Neothink Society, the stuff that the geniuses he talks about are us. He's a genius that he didn't even have this stuff. He just kind of picked this out and made it an easy application for people. But Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, those are people that didn't have to go through the Neothink Society. They were geniuses because they applied the same principles, really, the Friday Night Essence, and they did schedule their days in certain ways to accomplish what they did. This is bringing it to the common man, which you find in the Neothink Society. But the bottom line is the geniuses, like you said, are from us. We have the all the potential to do it, and the more we have the structure in place to free up geniuses and let them do what they do best and love to do, it's just, I'm so excited for it. You know, I can't wait for not dealing with you know, the initiatory force anymore, and for the results that'll come on a geometric scale once everybody's freed up.
Yeah, and I just want to make a point to what you said. The structure you're talking about won't be an enforced structure that's imposed on us by a small group of people as we have today, but will be a structure that everyone participates in voluntarily and will be free not to participate in if they so choose.
Huge. That's huge, big, and unlike, it's hard to imagine right away, but if you have that sense of freedom there, I think, I believe that's why I'm here again. Every time I've thought about it, that points to just amazing freedom and results for people, huge standard of living for people. And the society as we know it, just much more successful, happy, and having resources not so limited from it.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact you're not, most people today, a lot of people today are not successful in life. So they say to surround yourself with people who are very positive and successful. And that will kind of make you, give you the confidence to move your life along. So that's what I like about this Vision 10, surround yourself with geniuses. They're going to drag the ordinary person
Yeah,
right up, and on every level. So I like that.
very true.
Yeah, we're basically going to lift each other up.
Yep.
Everyone is going to succeed and inspire everyone else, and you know, I look forward to a world where people are out there looking to provide values to everyone who wants them, and and it'll be a world where you can have it almost anything you want, as long as it doesn't involve using force on someone else.
It's competitive values, totally honest.
Mm-hmm.
People aren't going to be looking to screw everybody, with deception.
And if they are, there's a big legal thing. There would be just the Justice Department focused on preventing that part of it. So
point.
all you're focused on is the freedom of individuals, and if anybody does, because some humans do,
Yeah.
especially at the beginning of this, there would be people. Looters still are not going to disappear overnight, but there'll be a stronger justice system focused only on that.
And if that doesn't work, we could just use ostracism. You ostracize these people, you ignore them.
Well, that to me, one of the biggest freedoms in the 12 Visions world will be the freedom of association. You will be able to choose who you want to associate with, who you want to work with, who you want in your social circles.
Right.
And basically, people who lie and cheat and do things, eventually nobody's going to want to associate with them, and that's ostracism.
Thanks for that explanation.
Good point.
I mean, to me, that's one of the most important freedoms that we don't have now, because we're forced to associate with people all day long that we don't want to associate with.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah, the choices that will be available from geniuses providing more values is going to have everybody, I think, be more honest and associate with services, products, people also that they want to associate with, and not waste their time living an illusion and being so dishonest, because the choices will be so varied and available from free markets and free competition. So it's beautiful.
Greed is good. Greed will be good here.
Yeah, and overzealous, the point of greed, I think, is just hurting another individual if you get to that point, which isn't connected necessarily with greed at all. But the point to, if you force somebody else, that's where it's a problem. And that's what's identified in the 12 visions throughout this platform is initiatory force. And if you just remove that, everything else, greed is good. Greed is ambition, it's for people to provide more values. Bring it on.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Well, unfortunately, today the people that have the wealth, and the majority of the time, the people that are greedy, and they have the attitude that they're better than you, they're at a higher level than you.
That's true.
That's true. I just feel like if you can keep the markets open and for free competition to always take on those people. Let the market duel it out, as long as nobody's getting unfair advantages.
Right.
Laws that are favoring one group over another. Any individual over another individual. It should be an even playing field.
And one other thing the geniuses will do is find more and more efficient ways to produce the products and services that they're producing, therefore reducing their cost and continuing to reduce, how much they charge for those products and services, while still receiving sufficient product to profit to prosper.
Yeah, right, exactly. Wow, it's beautiful. It's so simple and streamlined, but we don't have that today. So
instead of every year prices going up, except for unusual occurrences such as gas recently, which has now decided it's going back up again, in the 12 Visions world, prices will continuously go down, and therefore the money you have will be worth more and more every year instead of less and less as it is now.
You know, it's funny, gasoline's been produced or something's been produced every year the same way for years and years and years, and the price is going up. How could it be getting more costly to do the same thing you've always done with the same resources and that replenish themselves over time? It doesn't make full sense there that all these prices keep driving up, and we accept it because it's happening on a massive scale. But it doesn't have to be that way. This information is pointing to, which is perfectly logical.
Well, we accept it primarily because there aren't too many other available resources that we can use in the place of them.
Yeah, scarcity has to do with scarcity too.
And unfortunately, we're locked into a very inefficient source of energy for transportation. And transportation is a big portion of the cost of all goods because goods are not produced in your neighborhood anymore in the modern world, and they shouldn't be. You know, they're produced all over the world and transported to you so that you can purchase them. And the cost of transporting those goods is a big part of the price of those goods. You know, to me, I also don't understand, you know, other than someone, you know, taking advantage of a situation in the world to increase their profits dishonestly, in my opinion. I don't see any other reason why the price of you know, fuel, and also the fact that it seems like it's very difficult for other sources of energy for transportation to become widely available. Like, you know, like we're locked into fossil fuels, to oil, and you know, it seems like there's actually barriers to any other source of energy that make it very difficult to make them readily available.
Yeah.
World, yeah, they'll all become readily available. Go ahead, Bob.
The barriers are the people in control. They don't want anything else to come up. So when someone else does come up with another idea, they are one way or another confiscated in some form, and they're never allowed to come out to the general public.
Yeah, the simplest way for them to do it is buy it out and never implement it.
Right. And just as an example, that's one of the things that was tried with Extreme Energy. There's a company out there that did want to buy that whole thing right from the beginning, and unfortunately for us, the owner did not want to sell it. Did not want to have that happen.
I think the Neothink Society, the tools in there to be very highly competitive for the average person is so crucial for outcompeting those people in power that are trying to control these things, because we're playing within their rules, you know, and it's anything using to your advantage to take a company and successfully navigate through all the things they put in place.
You made a clear statement there in what you just said. Is playing within their rules. They make the game.
Playing in their sandbox. Yeah, right. Their sandbox.
I think that one of my ideas for Neothink is that it allows you to create your own rules, and so to speak. It allows you, it breaks through, again, your processing capabilities, your organizing capabilities of organizing yourself and other men's efforts in unison. And that's, it may not be it. I'm speaking from some theory, but it gives us a chance to, you know, outcompete those rules in place. And James J. Hill, you were talking about transportation, Bill. In the platform, they have an awesome illustration of a man breaking through transportation barriers and lowering cost. Mm-hmm. But what stopped him was rules and initiatory force.
Yeah,
to keep it very simple, it boils down to initiatory force that kept him from being able to continue lowering the transportation costs, which were hiring the standard of living for so many people and bringing down costs of transportation so that more people could buy goods at a cheaper price. and that's just one example, but you do that on a massive scale, and that's very, 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 very. It's almost speechless. I don't know the words to describe it. What could happen from that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the thing about it is, in the Neothink Society teaches us to become our own highest authority, so that we don't accept the authority of others, but we decide for ourselves. And sometimes we decide that what people are asking us to do is in our best interest, and other times we decide that it's not. Also, we may decide to do things that we're told to do because the consequences are too great, because of the way initiatory force is used in the world we live in today. In other words, you may decide that paying taxes is wrong, but you may also decide that right now paying taxes is more beneficial to you than the alternative, which is going to jail.
Right.
So you make that decision for yourself. That's the decision I've made. But in the meantime, I'm trying to change the world so that I'm no longer forced to pay taxes. But right now, I'm not going to say I'm not going to pay taxes and end up getting sent to jail.
Yeah.
Because for me, if I'm in jail, I'm less able to do what I want to do and less able to live the life I want to live.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I suggest anybody in the Neothink Society to take a look into it, to find those tools so that you can pay your taxes now so you don't go to jail. And then you can use your other time to really change the game and change that rule so you don't have to live within it,
Mm-hmm.
And get involved with what we're doing, because this is an avenue. It's an option for you to change that on your life, that forced tax that you have.
Okay, anyone else have any comments on the 10th vision? Okay, not hearing any. We'll move on to a little game I like to call Where's the Force?
Uh-oh.
Cool.
And today's topic will be, and I'm actually deciding right at this moment what it will be. It will be college, higher education. Sage, where's the Force?
Well, the Force is I have to say that there isn't much force, because luckily we're not forced to go to college. But once you go to college, many colleges have an authority or a administration that gets funding. Governments fund a lot of schools and universities, and governments get this money from taxing individuals not by their voluntary wishes, and then they donate it to where they think wherever they choose, not depending on what the person who gave it wants. And a lot of them decide to give it to these universities in forms of grants and thinking education is important, which it is, very much so. But they do that so they're able to give that money to people in the universities, and those universities administration decides on a curriculum to train students. And a lot of people are convinced to send their kids to college to get a good education. And through that structure, you have that forced tax that's going to the administration, and they are choosing the curriculum that they want. And a lot of them, from reports, I don't have specific examples, but that curriculum is designed based on what those people who gave the money from the government and from authorities to the universities, their philosophies and a lot of their information is taught in that school curriculum. And it teaches our education. The education is filled with ideas that people need authority, and that keeps this whole system going so that the taxpayers still get that money. They give it back to the universities. The universities teach the kids. The kids grow up like that into men and adults and women that are adults, and they have these same ideas, and then they voluntarily give taxes, and the cycle continues.
If I could suggest where the force is, you take a teenager coming out of high school, 17, 18 years old, and they go into the working industry, and they'll start in the working industry. Almost no matter what they're doing, they're going to start at minimum wage, which is about $7 an hour today. An individual going to college, if he gets his college degree, he automatically goes out into the same industrial world and same industrial location, and he'll start out as a supervisor on a job or as an engineer on a job, whatever it may be. And instead of getting his $7 to $8 an hour, whatever it might be, he's now coming in at something like $24, $25 an hour to start. It's at least three times greater than what the average person can make just starting coming out of school.
Wow. Yeah. You guys, Bob, Sage, I couldn't have said it any better. You kind of stole my thunder with the administrators and the payment there. But just understand, you don't. Bob, you're right. You're going to make less money, but you're not forced to go to college. You can become successful without college. And unfortunately, the education system.
Well, you are being forced if you want to succeed and get ahead. You are being forced to go to college if you want to do that. Because if you just go to work as an hourly employee making that minimum wage to start, you're not going to advance that far. At the best, after 50 or 60 years in your career, and assuming you get ahead, you might be making what that college graduate is making in his first year of work.
True. That's a good point. I was just going to say, though, that there are successful people that didn't go to college, but it's too far and too few. But the education system allows you just to fit in to society,
that's if you go in,
job and all that.
That's if you go into the work world.
Right.
If you go as an entrepreneur, I mean, there are entrepreneurs that have not gone to college that are multimillionaires.
Right.
It's doable, but not everyone coming out of high school is able to do that.
Yeah, there's too few and far between, though, that become successful entrepreneurs. Everybody else is fitting into the AC world.
Right.
Traditional educational system.
So that's where the force is. The force is, if you want to succeed, you have to go to college.
Right. I agree.
And, without it, in the modern world, in industry, you're not going to succeed unless you do that.
Right. I agree. Good point.
Yeah, I agree. Except in very specialized areas, the idea of apprenticeship has pretty much disappeared in our society. I mean, you can apprentice to be a plumber, possibly, but you can't apprentice to be an engineer or, I mean, in days gone by, you could even apprentice to be a scientist or, I mean, and for me, the initiatory force comes from several places. One place is limitation of what you can actually learn. I mean, a lot of, I've been to a little bit, I was to a little bit of college when I was younger and didn't run into a lot of this, but I've heard from other people that, only certain ideas are taught, and if you have different ideas, you're not going to succeed academically. If you don't agree with the professor, you're not going to pass the course. So you have to pretend that you agree with their ideas in order to pass the course and get the degree that you're looking to get.
Right. Years ago, I would agree with you, Bill, but today with the internet and the Google searches and all the information that's available, it's not difficult for people to learn whatever they want to learn. The sad part is that the children of today are taking these tools and they're just using them for fun and games instead of using them to enhance their knowledge. They're using them to go on there and play games and have fun, where if they only took and stepped back a little bit and thought about it and then said, hey, I can go online and I can learn to become whatever I want to become and learn it inside out. I mean, there's a saying is, if you study anything 30 minutes a day for 2 years, you become a professor in that industry. And that could apply to the kids today. If they just took and studied a specific field and went online and researched it, they could be geniuses in whatever it is that they want to study. And unfortunately, they don't take advantage of that.
Yeah, I agree with that. But unfortunately, as you pointed out, in today's society, getting that piece of paper, that associate's degree or master's degree, puts you way ahead of other people in the working world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you gotta follow whatever cockeyed, mistaken, unreasonable beliefs the professors have. Otherwise, you don't succeed and you don't get that piece of paper.
But in our neothink world, though, we may not be participating in that working world as we know it today.
Exactly. And that's the difference. That's the difference between now in a force-based world and in the neothink 12 Visions world, which is a non-force-based world.
Right.
A world free of initiatory force. Okay, any other comments on that topic?
I'm sorry, I had to take a text message, but that was just awesome information, and you could have a the whole meeting could be on the education system. So cool, very important, so important.
Yeah, unfortunately, higher education is just a continuation of primary education, and people are continually taught to be followers and not self-leaders.
And fit in.
Yeah.
That's
conform.
And
Yep.
as far as the computers and that are concerned, I see it here in my house with the kids. I've got kids aging from 3 years old to 18, and even with my oldest grandson, Ian, who we've all met and we all know, he still uses these tools for playing a lot of games instead of using them to advance his knowledge.
I think
it's sad, and I try to encourage him to do things differently, and sometimes it's like talking to the wall.
I think
because I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sage.
Oh, sorry, Bill. I just wanted to comment that I feel like the young generation to really apply neothink, and just speaking of neothink as a tool, but I think one strategy that we can really do is become overstimulating, and we have to show them how they can have fun. They're playing games because they want to have fun, and the only way to do this is to outcompete and have more fun using these tools to accomplish their dreams. Saying that is one thing, but ourselves doing that, are you having fun actually researching online and applying it and building something? That's what I want to keep honing in on, and I think us four on this call, if we have 4 excited individuals who are spearheading things and using technology in that way, we're going to light, people are going to be stimulated by that, and they'll want to do the same thing. Because when you're just as an example, when you're living that type of lifestyle that you've created for yourself by being successful and playing at whatever you enjoy doing, that's what people are drawn to, that, and they'll come. I think that's a really good, that's along my thinking, that's going to solve that issue of the sad fact that they are not using the technology, to do something much more productive that they can do.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry, I'll step off the box, Bill. You can go on.
Okay.
Get out of my sandbox.
Sage.
Sorry, yeah.
In the interest of time, we'll move on, but wonderful and stimulating conversation. I appreciate
really
it.
fast moving.
From everyone. So now we'll move on to how we all together can create the 12 Visions world, because all of us can do things that bring this world closer and make it a reality, rather than the idea that we're all talking about now. And we are going to continue to look at the 12 Visions Party national platform, which explains how the 12 Visions world will benefit us and how it can come about. So I'm going to start reading, and then we'll read a little bit each and have some discussion. I'm taking a quick look. Okay, I'm going to read the first section under the section called "How to Become and Remain the Richest Nation on Earth," which starts at the top of page 15, so everybody can join in.
And this is coming from the platform.
Yes.
Tell people. Okay.
Okay. How to become and remain the richest nation on earth. All the people can live like millionaires, including the poor. Let me explain. During the computer revolution of the late 20th century, computer buying power multiplied so dramatically that ordinary families could buy computers that a few years earlier only millionaires could buy. The computer revolution's paradigm was elegantly simple as follows. The ruling class had little control over the computer industry. The TVP takes that same paradigm and applies it to all American industries. Buying power can multiply 1,000 times, not just for buying computers, but for buying everything. When the Prime Law nullifies ruling class control over all industries, the resulting TVP-induced, unhindered great technological revolution will spread that same get millionaire rich paradigm beyond the computer world across all industries. With the new end rule of man, thus eliminate the ruling class political system. With the Prime Law Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, you will be able to buy what a few years before only millionaires could buy. The new political party, the 12 Visions Party, embodies that new political system. The TVP ignites the most real and ambitious get-rich program for the people in the history of mankind. The TVP platform is named Make All the People Rich, Including the Poor. That title is literal, not figurative. The 12 Visions Party literally delivers the largest, most ambitious get-rich program since the beginning of civilization. The entire non-ruling class, essentially all people, will be the beneficiaries. They will live like millionaires without lifting a finger. People will be 1,000 times richer. If buying power multiplies 1,000 times, then you become rich. Consider this quote from Bill Gates. Another sign of a healthy competitive industry is lower prices. The statistics show that the cost of computing has decreased 10 million-fold since 1971. That's the equivalent of getting a Boeing 747 for the price of a pizza, unquote. Through the TVP, that get-rich phenomenon applies universally. That get-rich phenomenon happens through computer industry-like economic freedom under a protection-only government purified by the Prime Law Amendment and protection-only budget, or Prime Law budget. All the people will get rich, including the poor. And although the 12 Visions Party has a comprehensive list of protection-only planks in its national platform, the bottom line results will be rapid and universal wealth and health for all citizens, including the poor. It is the largest, most realistic, and most comprehensive get-rich program ever conceived. Consider the 12 Visions Party a legitimate get-rich plan for the people, the biggest get-rich opportunity of all time. The plan is quite simple. The rule of man, ruling class on top of our society, pushes us all down into a suppressed class. All of us. If not for those political leaders pushing every industry down, then you would be rich. The entire suppressed class from all racial and social backgrounds would rise up into a wealthy elite class. Universal wealth, health, and peace is a beautiful thing, and for the first time is possible through the 12 Visions Party. Simply remove the rule of man ruling class through the Prime Law. We will be 1,000 times richer, just as the mostly unregulated free computer industry of the late 20th century, during which buying power multiplied 1,000 times in a few short years. The TVP is the calling for the entire non-ruling class, the suppressed class, the underclass. If we remove the rule of man through the Prime Law, i.e. the Prime Law Amendment, then the people will rise up at all levels. The poor, the middle class, the successful, the self-made millionaires, the entire non-ruling class will rise up very rapidly into a wealthy elite class. Everyone will become rich, including the poor. The 12 Visions Party provides a practical plan for removing the ruling class. Therefore, the 12 Visions Party provides the people with the greatest get-rich opportunity in the history of the world. The computer revolution was a forerunner to the coming all-encompassing TVP-induced great technological revolution. If someone tells you the computer's exponential multiplication of buying power was an anomaly due to the invention of the silicon chip, then pages 83 to 90 of this platform give another indisputable example of this get-rich phenomenon 100 years ago, before high technology altogether. The computer revolution was an anomaly due to the absence of the rule of man. The TVP is here to eradicate the rule of man, the ruling class, and consequently liberate the suppressed class and send the entire suppressed class soaring up to the wealthy elite class.
Wow. Woo!
Wow.
A lot of information.
I get excited just reading it.
Right.
That's the kind of world I want to live in.
Yeah.
So, he's such a great writer, but he also identifies such great, over years and years of studying this stuff, I've seen it from so many other examples, and it falls all in line with this. It's not just this writing pumps you up. I think he's such a good writer to pump you up, but he all this information on how he's talked about the absence of the rule of man causes this reaction across all levels is true. If you've read those pages 83 to 90, it's just another example that he talks about. And in the business world, even my own experience of dealing with competitive value creation against other competitors, it creates a better product for the customer. I see it, they can have better services in so many myriad of ways, lower prices, ease of getting the orders, connections, communicating with us. They can do live help, they can call in, they can go online. It's just becoming so easy for the customer who wants a value. And if you do that across the scope of all industries, man, it's just hard to imagine, but it's so cool.
Try to get a little more excited, Sage.
I honestly, I'm holding back. I don't want to overstep on this show.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyone else? Of course, I have more to say, but I want to let Bob or Harry get a chance before I talk more. Go right ahead.
Bob, you can take. I'm just listening to all you guys. That's where my thoughts are. It's exciting just hearing all this stuff. So, you have anything else to say, Bob?
No, I don't have anything. Actually,
Okay.
I'm looking to locate the prime law on the tvpnc.org.
Yep. Okay. To me, this is the basic problem, the crux. It's that we have a small group of individuals relative to the population of the country who have found an easy way to get power and wealth. Let's be honest. They're people who get into this. People that get into the Congress become millionaires. People that get into the Senate become millionaires. The president becomes a millionaire. Everyone who gets into government, all the politicians become millionaires. But also all the people that get involved in the regulatory agencies get this feeling of power. They get this sense that they can tell everyone what to do, that they can, whatever they say, people have to do. Whatever they decide, people have to do. And that's the danger, because all of us, if we just, if we're honest with ourselves, we would enjoy that power. But if we're also honest, we become concerned about the effects of that power. But some people don't pay attention to the effects. They just enjoy that power. And they think, oh, there's a greater good. There's this higher good that, you can't see it, you can't touch it, it doesn't really exist, but they see this higher good in their minds. And what they don't understand is that higher good causes so many problems for people, causes so much heartache and disaster and pain, and makes people's lives difficult and keeps people down and doesn't allow people to become, to prosper and be happy. There's so much unhappiness in the world because of people who think they're serving some higher good, and instead of actually doing things to help people, they're looking at this amorphous, non-existent principle up here instead of what's happening to people in reality in front of them. And they just get a sense of, I'm doing good things because I'm serving this higher idea, this cause. And they're not really looking at the effects on the people, or they don't believe that what they're doing is causing those effects. And, people get deluded into that. And they enjoy that feeling of, I'm doing something great, and that's what causes the problems. Plus, people just get greedy and want to be able to do things like say you did something wrong and take all your money and stuff.
Yeah, well, that's Bill. This has something to do with Plato, right? This philosophy that serving other people, this
or higher
socio-economic
concepts,
political system, serving other people is good, or higher authority.
Yeah.
Right, and that's the only thing people know. We don't know anything else. We don't know any other philosophy. And yeah.
And then there's the idea of the social contract. This thing that people tell you, oh, we have this social contract. Everybody has to abide by it. Nobody gave me a choice about it. They just put it in front of me and said, oh, you gotta help people. And we're going to tell you how you're going to do it.
Yeah.
We're going to take your money and then decide what to do with it, and we're going to take a chunk of that money along the way for ourselves. That's government in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Right.
When you say power, also, Bill is poignant to me when you said honesty, facing it honestly. We love power, admit it. I sometimes you'll have a good workout for anybody who's into exercise, and they'll feel powerful and strong, and that feels good. That's definitely totally valid and wonderful. And these people in Congress, like you said, who are tapping into millions of dollars with low effort, they're getting power. They're getting the power to regulate things and the power to safeguard the public community. And it's very stimulating. It's the same thing. You have a responsibility. You feel you're helping you could feel like you're helping society, and you get a lot of money for that, and a lot of clout, and it puts you in a class where you can do more things. I mean, if you have more money, right there you have more purchasing power. And it stems from that, and then you have the hardworking entrepreneur that works within the rules that those Congress people put in place, and he's trying to he's getting his power by consciously putting effort to realize in reality how to make a service more competitive or more available to somebody, doing the work, putting in the time, putting in the money, figuring it out, and getting a better product so that you as a consumer would purchase it. And he's getting honest power. They're both getting power, but he's earning it through a valid way that he can feel good about, at the end of the day. And that's it's all that kind of factor is always at play with this, and the more we realize that in society and realize kind of turn our way against any which way that comes up against that unearned power by not continuing that system, it's going to benefit all of us, because you'll just go to the other way, which are those valid, powerful people that are doing something to help society, and then everything gets better and better. Just
Yeah.
and to see that it helps you, it helps everybody, and those congressmen can't see that eventually it's not going to help them either, because they won't have, by not rewarding those hard working entrepreneurs, those services and values will get worse and worse, and they're going to need them too. They're just, they're buying things all the time, and they are going to not have those awesome values too eventually. So
we all know this. Us five know that. We
Yeah.
know that we want that power, but we want to do it in an honest, competitive way.
yeah,
But you got to understand, most of the people want to follow the external authorities. They don't care. They don't. They're happy with their lives the way they are.
I think that's why it comes down to the people that do get it, like us on this call. It's kind of up to us, because you'll be waiting forever for the other people that are comfortable sitting down. It's very stimulating. They give enough rewards to the people that sit on the couch, so that they stay on the couch.
Yeah. And that's what they've been taught, and that's all they know, and they haven't been shown anything different.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do here, is to show people something different.
There's an alternate to politics as usual.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, just removing inventory forest. That's it. There's a plan. There's a whole plan. It's all focuses on just that, though.
But what do you say to the people? What do you say to the people that says you'll never be able to do that? It's never happened. How are you going to remove a ruling class?
They said the same thing. They said the same thing to the entrepreneurs that put that flew the planes, the Wright brothers. They got a lot of no's. You'll never fly the plane. The computer, the internet system alone. People way back then would laugh at you if you said you'd have a cell phone within 40 years or 50 years. You'd have a cell phone size of a credit card. If they had credit cards back then. And,
right.
So it's
and I also say that I would also say that as long as more people believe the way you do that it can't be done, then people believe it can be done. It won't happen.
I'm playing devil's advocate. That's
of course.
I understand.
I'm giving you a response to what you're doing. I'm going to wrap it up here because we want to respect people's time, and we don't. The time is gone wonderfully.
That's the fastest almost hour I've ever seen.
Great. Yes. So I want to wrap up. I want to thank everybody, but before I do that, I want to mention that. Basically, the question is, how can you help create the 12 Visions world that we've been discussing this whole hour? And there are many ways. You can just tell people about the show and encourage them to watch it. You can become involved in the 12 Visions movement within your state. The easiest way to contact people within your state is to go to and the easiest way to learn about the 12 Visions movement is to go to the website tvpnc.org, and that site will show you how, everything about it. Has the platform that we're reading. It has other information about the 12 Visions Party, and has a place where you can sign up and be put in contact with people in your state that are organizing the 12 Visions movement. And just become involved either by participating or financially or however you want to do it. But there are many ways you can do that. Also, you can help this show, help us bring this message about the 12 Visions world to as many people as possible. Either just by telling people about the show and recommending that they watch it, as I said earlier, or you can support the show financially by going to patreon.com/creatinganewworld and pledging, just $1 for each episode. And that will help us by helping us maintain the equipment that we're using to create this show and helping us out a little, And if you feel what we're doing is value, then you can provide value to us by going that route and supporting us financially. If you have any questions about what we've discussed here, I want to answer those questions personally, and you can send an email to WHUNSICKER gmail.com, and I will be happy to answer any questions you have. And that's about it. Anybody else have any suggestions about anything else people can do to help create this world that we've been discussing?
Sure thing. I just wanted to point out if they have any questions about, you said questions about the show, and if they have any ideas or thoughts or perspectives on how to make it better, or any constructive criticisms, that's great too. So,
absolutely. I'm looking for all of that. Thank you, Sage.
Sure.
Harry, Bill, for you and Harry, maybe one thing you might look at is creating a flyer that you can email to us, and we can possibly print it out and hand it out to people, and maybe even forward it through email to people to invite them to the show.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Yep.
Yeah, that's a good
thought. We have been thinking along those lines ourselves, but that's a good specific suggestion, and we appreciate it. Okay, I want to thank everyone for joining me on the show.
A lot of fun. Thanks, Bill.
Excuse me. And want to wish everyone wealth, health, peace, happiness, and love. Thank you.
Go TVP.
Yep.
Right on.
All right.
Yep.
See you guys.
Good night.